Nikola Tesla said, if you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. Now, we all know Nikola Tesla. He was one of the greatest inventors of all time. He's responsible for things like alternating current, or the radio, or X-rays, and dozens of other inventions. Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and most welcome guests. I believe that one of the main reasons Tesla was such a genius inventor was that he was seeing things from the right perspective. And I think he shared that with us when he said, if you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. You see, the entire universe is actually made of energy. You and I, this table, this room, when you go down to the smallest form, it's just energy that's bouncing around and spinning. And based on how fast it's spinning or how many RPMs it's doing, it's called its frequency. And there's a law called the law of vibration. What the law of vibration says is that everything in the universe is vibrating. So everything in the universe is actually energy that's vibrating at different frequencies. So I'm sure you can see how him having this broad understanding at such an early time in history would allow him to come up with things like the radio and dozens of other inventions. So we live in this ocean of motion where everything around us is vibrating, including ourselves. Sound waves, light waves, and even our thoughts, which is the most interesting thing about this. Our thoughts, which are a form of energy, are actually vibrating at different frequencies. And what they found, it's incredible, when our conscious mind latches onto a thought, meaning that we become emotionally involved with a thought, or we're following the thought where it wants to take us, because every thought is a form of energy that wants to grow. It wants to grow into a bigger thought. But when we latch on, our conscious mind actually moves into the vibration of the thought. It actually moves into the frequency of the thought. And our conscious mind is connected by this long nervous cord, and it goes down to our solar plexus, which is where our subconscious mind is. It's this big bunch of brain and nerve tissue right here. And as soon as that frequency hits our subconscious, our entire body moves into that vibration, because our subconscious is connected to our entire nervous system, all of our organs, everything. So we are this mass of vibrating energy, and we're vibrating at a frequency. And the frequency is completely determined by what we're focused on, by what we're allowing to occupy our conscious minds. You know, it's interesting how radio works. As you're turning the little knob on the radio, the little receiver inside is vibrating. And as you turn the knob, you're changing the frequency that the little receiver vibrates at. And as soon as it matches the frequency of the sender, you pick up the song and you can hear the music. Well, this is actually because of the law of attraction. And most of us, if we've heard of the law of attraction, we've heard of it as something like, we attract into our lives based on the person we become. And this is true. Or the positive thinking books would say that we attract into our lives based on what we think about. And this is also true. But the law of attraction is actually simpler than that. It's a law of physics, and it's based on the law of vibration. And what the law of attraction says is that things on the same frequency are attracted to one another. It's that simple. Things of like vibration are attracted to one another. So just as the radio, as soon as you hit the frequency of the sender, you pick up the song and you can hear the music. Well, human beings, believe it or not, are much like that radio. We're this mass of vibrating energy, and we're vibrating at a frequency. And whatever that frequency is, we're going to be both sending and receiving and creating on this frequency. And if it's a frequency of negativity or if it's a frequency of anger, we're going to move into that mood of anger. And we all know what comes out of a mood of anger. You know, when we're angry, we're thinking angry thoughts, maybe we respond to someone in a negative way. It's because everything that comes out of us is flavored with this anger. And the anger was brought on by the negative vibration. And it becomes a cycle too, because the more we get emotionally involved with the negative thoughts, the more we stay in that frequency. And the more we stay in the frequency, the more we're picking up and creating negative thoughts. So you have to cut it off if you want to stop it. So, the law of attraction says that we are attracting into our lives based on the tune or the frequency that we are in. And the tune or the frequency we're in is completely determined by what we're focused on, by what we're giving our attention to. So if we want to attract good, positive, wholesome things into our life, everything that we want, then we need to stay focused on what we want, where we want to go. And this is confirmed again and again by every success book talking about you need to know where you're going and what you want if you want to get there. This is why goals work. This is why they say when you have a problem, focus on the solution. This is why there are dozens of books like The Power of Positive Thinking, As a Man Thinketh, Think and Grow Rich. All of these are based on the law of attraction, which says that we are attracting into our lives based on the tune that we're in, based on the frequency that we're on. And that is completely determined by what we're focused on, what we're giving our attention to. It's incredible. So then, how do we control our focus? How do we focus on more of what we want? Well, there are two ways to control our focus. You see, well, we have complete control of what thoughts we choose to follow and what thoughts we just drop, which is step 2. We don't necessarily have control of the thousands of thoughts that are popping into our head without us realizing it on a daily basis. The only thing that controls that is our input. So what we put into our mind determines how we think. As Jim Rohn said, the mind is like a factory, a mental factory. And what you put in all day long pours ingredients into this mental factory. And it's from those ingredients that our life is made. He said, can you imagine dumping this bucket of trash into this mental factory every day and coming out with a rich, dynamic, positive life? It can't be done. And the reason is because our input heavily dominates our thinking. I'm sure many of you have had the experience where you're listening to a song, and then later in the day, you find yourself singing the song, or maybe it playing over and over again in your head. Well, this actually happens with all input. It happens more with songs because they're very catchy, but this is actually how we send information to our subconscious mind. We replay things over and over again because our subconscious takes about 6 times getting this information before it actually gets it. So that's the first step. Step 1 of controlling our focus is to improve the quality of what we're putting into our mind. Make sure that what we're putting into our mental factory is good quality information, because our factory doesn't judge any of it. It just takes it all in, and it uses that to make our beliefs, to make our decisions, to form our opinion about ourselves, everything. And you see, if we skip step 1 and we go straight to step 2, which is controlling our focus, making the decision that we're going to focus on what we want and go after what we want and refuse to allow the negative into our life. But if we skip step 1, we go straight to step 2, it's going to be an uphill battle, if not impossible, to control our focus, because we still have all this junk popping in all day long because we're still pouring in more junk. So, law of attraction says that we are attracting into our lives based on the tune or the frequency that we are on. And the tune or the frequency that we are on is completely determined by what we're focused on, by what we're allowing to occupy our conscious minds. The 2 ways to control our focus are, number 1, improve the quality of what we're putting into our minds. And number 2, make the decision that you're going to focus on and go after what you want and refuse to allow the negative to enter into your mind. And if you can do these 2 things, if we can do these 2 things, then just as surely as what goes up must come down, these laws will work for us. And we will attract everything that we want into our lives. Mr. Toastmaster.